Hey guys, welcome to She Became Me, where we will connect with you at the heart. We'd also like to release pain, passion, and power during these segments. So I am Latina Rogers, your host, and my co-host is
Yolanda J. Brown.
And today our guests are. Go ahead, introduce you. Go ahead, introduce.
Rupertia Clay.
And Melva Salmon.
So we would like to welcome these ladies with us today, and they have a very powerful story. So their segment is going to be about
Generational survivorship.
generational survivorship. Thank you, Yolanda, for that. I'm having brain fog today. Something's going on, but anyway, I'm gonna do my best to press on. So welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you.
So glad you could stop by and spend some time with us. So tell us a little bit about. Let's start with Rupertia. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Rupertia, and what do you do, and how do you tie into the survivorship that we're talking about today?
Okay. I am a 21-year teacher.
Oh, okay.
This year I am a specialist for special education.
Okay.
I started my career in early child education. From early child education, moved into the special education field because they really tie in together. Both are about developmental appropriate practices,
Okay.
and what's best for students, and not just teaching to the standards. So I really appreciate working in this
Okay.
field, and I just feel like you can do a little bit more. You got a little bit more wiggle room
Yeah.
than being a gen ed teacher.
Right.
I also am on a board for Girl Talk, so I mentor students, advocate, teach parents how to advocate, and then I'm a mother and grandmother.
Oh, man, you don't look like
Yes.
a grandmother.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is your sister next to you, and Miss Melba.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself, Melba.
Well, Melva Salmon. I too am an educator. I'm a school counselor by trade.
Okay.
For the last several years, I have been the founder and senior consultant of an education consulting firm called the Practical Counselor.
Okay.
I've been very blessed to work with school districts across the state of Indiana, helping them to develop comprehensive school counseling programs.
Okay.
Research has told us for years how critical school counseling is to student achievement and growth, and I have the blessed opportunity to help schools assess their school counseling programs, their curriculum, and to develop data-driven systems
Okay.
that help us know whether or not those interventions and supports that we are implementing are actually working.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I've been able to do that for the last several years. I've also been in education for over 20 years.
Okay.
I'm the mother of 3 beautiful kids.
Mhm.
I guess they're young adults now. It's hard to imagine that, but they are
Right.
young adults now.
Right.
And a very proud member of the Crow family. We have a very strong,
Yeah.
connected family, so the title of our segment really resonates with my heart and my spirit in that we are generationally connected, a very close-knit family, and we try to support one another no matter what, professionally, personally, and all the
Right.
above, and we have tons of fun together.
Now, that's great, wonderful, because this whole month series is about family structure, and you guys, have a large family like that, you're close-knit, and having fun is definitely the key to families. So many families talk about that they're not able, like lately, in the last few years, a lot of people talk about families not getting together except for funerals.
Yes,
That's been a problem culturally, I know,
yeah.
lately. So, but that's great to hear that you guys are still getting together and having fun and not waiting for sad times. So, as well, so you guys also dealt with breast cancer in your family. So tell us about that. How was that emotionally, and what was the struggles, that you guys had to face with dealing with that?
So, our first introduction to breast cancer, where it was very familiar, was
Okay.
when my mother had breast cancer
6 years ago, 2014.
Okay,
Okay.
6 years, so it was 6 years ago.
Okay.
And we were aware that her grandmother had passed from cancer,
Okay.
and that her mom also had cancer, but it wasn't as close to us
Right,
at the
right, right,
time.
right, right.
With my mother, it became just one of those things where we all knew that we had to, take care of her.
Yes.
And take care of one another. As Melba stated, she is data-driven, so
Yeah.
it was the same, when we found out about my mother's cancer. She found out everything that there was to know about the
Research
cancer.
that thing.
She created a book, and she could probably tell you more about it.
Created a book, did you really?
Oh, yes.
A plan of action,
Wow.
everyone's role, and
That's
what we were
great.
to do to execute, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, people probably be really interested in seeing that as an example of a plan of care for a family, to see how you really put that together.
Absolutely, and I would be so excited and
Okay.
honored to provide the templates that I
Yeah,
developed.
yeah,
I develop templates for everything
Okay.
from the notes that you take when you go to your appointments.
yeah.
I did research. I did so much in-depth research that the medical, well, my mother's surgeon asked her if I was in the field. I learned what was necessary to take care of mama.
Right, right, right.
And it proved to be quite valuable because we didn't know. 6 years later, she, Ruperti and I both would be facing a similar journey.
Exactly.
Each of our
exactly.
journeys has been different, but similar in that there was a cancer scare. For
Yeah.
me, it was a scare. For Rupertia,
Yeah.
she had a very real journey with fighting cancer. And
Okay.
I know she looks phenomenal now.
Yes, she
And
does.
I wouldn't know that she is a wonderfully strong survivor.
Okay.
And she has a powerful story to tell about strength and just knowing self and making a choice to just face it head on
Yeah.
and not cower to it, not let it take over. It's so funny because so many people would say to her, "You don't look sick." She said, "I'm not sick, I have cancer." And I think that kind of justifies even
Yeah.
how we approach mama's care.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
so I did a lot of research. I created a binder, and I had a binder for every section of care. Medications, recommendations, research, family
Wow.
history, templates for every appointment. And we were able to go back to that for our journey to say, okay, what's our family history say? What
Wow.
questions should we be asking?
Yeah.
What happened with mama's care? What medications do they recommend? And what did the research say about it 6 years ago?
Yeah.
And what has changed now?
Right, oh, that was great.
So, and I say templates because part of the work I do as an education consultant, I help districts develop systems.
Okay.
Templates are about helping us create systems that we know can work, it's
Right.
evidence-based.
Yeah.
And so,
And you measure the outcomes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
so I'd be happy to share those templates, even when I went to my doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
My journey was different in that I found lumps, but they were benign,
Okay.
thanks be to God. But I still had preventative surgeries so that I didn't have the same experience and I could reduce my risk for getting cancer.
Okay.
But I would go into my appointments with a template with my questions already, available. I had graphic images of what my body looks like now and what my reconstruction goals were
Okay.
for later. But it helped me regain some control.
Yes.
When you're faced with that journey, you feel powerless because you have to do what's necessary to take care of you. You don't always get to choose what that is.
Right.
For me, I was able to take some power back in assisting in navigating that path and not just being told.
Right.
Because, there's different approaches for care.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know what the options were so I could choose the one that I thought fit my body best and my medical history best.
Yeah, right. That's good.
But even, I think taking it back to my mother, it still wasn't as introspective as it was when it became about the sisters.
Right.
With my mother, she's your mother,
Right, right.
You know that, or you believe that cancers begin to happen when people are in their sixties.
Right,
And
right.
so you don't assess your own risk.
Right.
We knew that my mother had BRCA1. We knew that
Okay.
she was tested and that she was, had the gene for BRCA1. And shortly after that, Melba and another one of my sisters was tested.
Yeah.
And they also had the BRCA1 gene.
Okay.
And we knew that, and we continued living life,
Yeah.
you know, eating high off the hog, and not beginning the process of taking care of our bodies so that we could be preventative. We could have started being preventative in 2014,
Right.
in 2015.
Exactly.
But I think what happened when I was diagnosed with cancer in January, it made it more real for us, for our,
Yes.
you know, for Black
Because you
women.
guys were younger, right?
And we're
That's right.
younger.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
You know, to be in your forties and have a
Right.
really real disease.
Right in your, right in your face.
Right in your
yeah.
face, and it's not your parents, and it's not your friends, and
Yes.
it's not, like, it's you,
Right.
and then your sibling group, because we're also, all of us are only like 2 to 3 years apart.
Okay.
And when I say all of us, I mean each child.
Now,
So
how many you guys?
there are 9 of us. My
Okay.
mother had 9 children.
And that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so like we are a gang within ourselves.
Yes.
Like, I heard you say families don't get together anymore. If 2
Yeah.
of us are together, a third one is gonna show
So
up,
what-
and that's, we're together.
Somebody's gonna say, what y'all doing?
Yeah.
Well, to give you an idea, when the stay-at-home order was
Mhm.
issued,
Right.
that was not gonna keep us apart. We had Zoom parties.
Yes.
Okay.
We had Zoom parties for 2-3 hours.
Oh, okay.
And we
That was good.
would bring our tea
Right.
and jokes, and we played games
Mhm.
on
Okay.
Zoom, you
Okay.
know? So
That's good.
we remained
Right.
connected. That wasn't gonna stop us.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, so that.
Now, I wanna make sure you understand that Rapertia was diagnosed in January of this year.
Oh, 2020.
2020.
Oh, no, I didn't know. it was-
That's why I'm telling you, she's phenomenal.
Wow.
2020.
Man.
2020, yeah.
It hasn't stopped a thing, but I'll let her share that.
Yeah, okay, what area you from here?
Well, I just actually on my all clear,
Oh, ooh, thank
what day was
God.
that, Wednesday?
It was
Really?
Wednesday.
I think it was Wednesday that
Oh,
I received
man.
notice that I was cancer free. Had my last
Oh, wow.
surgery September 10th.
Wow, that's
and,
amazing.
Yeah, and so, all is well.
Yeah, well, you look good, you look good.
Thank you.
And I think it's important to note that, so she had her mastectomies in June,
Mhm.
the bilateral mastectomies for the
Mhm.
cancer, breast
Okay.
cancer, because that's what she was diagnosed with.
Okay.
I think it's critical for her to point out that the last surgery, September 10th, was a preventative surgery.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
The one for, technically, it was,
Okay.
so so the journey started, and I tell the whole story because again, it ties back to
Yeah.
one of my sisters.
Yeah.
And being able, if I could say, you know, even spiritually to discern, like, this was God talking at this
Yes.
moment, because
Yes.
we've had the conversations before.
Yes.
And, it was January 5th,
Mhm.
some sort of way we got on the conversation again about the BRCA1 gene. And my
Okay.
older sister asked, have you gotten tested yet? And I
Mhm.
said, well, no, Melba was tested, and my other sister was tested, they're positive. So I always share that information with my doctors,
Right.
and that was it. And I had I had mammograms done before, MRIs done before, and they told me, yeah, we see, you know, there's some dense tissue.
Mhm.
Black women tend to have dense tissue.
Oh, okay.
Black women tend to also,
So did they miss it?
it's not that they missed it, I missed it.
Okay.
And I say that because there were some findings.
Okay.
And they would tell me, you know, I'm saying the doctors would tell me, make sure when you come in again, we want to measure that.
Okay.
But I wasn't consistent, and I honestly didn't, I'm only 43, I'm fine.
Right.
And I'm not going to get cancer.
Right.
Because my mama had it, and we prayed her through it, and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. And so, I say that I missed it, I would never say that the doctors missed it, because when I went back and looked at my records from 2015, there, you see on there where they say at the 8:30 mark, but there was never any lumps. So
Okay.
that was January 5th. January 8th, we had an impromptu get together at my sister's. And, she asked the question again, just out of the blue. She said, I'm thinking about going to get tested. And Melville was telling me about a place I can go,
Okay.
and it's free. And so I know that they wanted families. So she was saying, would you go with me? And I'm like, sure. And if I could put a pin in there, the last time I went with her to have something tested, it was because she said, oh, I think I'm pregnant, let's go get tested. And I was tested and she was tested, and I was pregnant and she wasn't.
Okay.
And so here we are again, all these 25 years later, she says, let's go get tested. I say, okay. I go home, go to sleep, and I'm asleep. In the middle of my sleep, my eyes never open, and I'm doing my self-checks, because I'm an avid self-checker.
Okay.
And I'm doing my self-check, and I feel a lump. And so I wake my husband up, and I'm still asleep, I never get out of the bed.
Okay.
Wake my husband up, take his hand, I say, you feel that lump? That feels different. Because he also would do my breast checks. He always said for health, sometimes it may not have been. But he was doing that morning, and he said, that's larger than I've ever felt. We'll call in the morning. Called in the morning, went to the doctor that morning. By that Friday, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be
I was-
devastating.
It was, well, I told my sister group because Melba was having karaoke. Because I
Gospel
wanted-
karaoke.
Gospel karaoke, and we were there, and I let them know, I said, hey, I'm waiting on test results. I wanted to wait and not tell my mother, because my mother, takes in everything, she's a sponge, and if she believes that's how you should feel, that's how she's gonna feel.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't want her to
Yeah.
feel that, but I
Yeah.
wanted to share it with somebody, because I didn't want to make myself sick
Right.
with anxiety or
Right.
either way. But I shared with them, and then by that Friday, I received a call. And as Bella stated, I like to take things head on. So the doctor called, she says, hey, I want you to come in, bring the support system so that we can speak. And I said, no, I'm at work. I need you to tell me. I'm not
Right.
gonna wait for an
Right.
appointment. Tell me now. She says, well, one of the lumps was benign, the other lump was cancerous, and we need to see you to do another biopsy. So I say, okay, I have to get back to class. Go back to class, I finish my day, I go home. When I get home, I have my mini breakdown, then I call my sisters and I tell them.
Yes.
And then the rest is history.
Well, they took strength to continue in that class after getting that news. I think I would've just went home. I would've been like, oh my God. Yeah.
I think it's a generational, it's a testament to our faith that's been passed down one generation to the next. I've not been in Rupertia's shoes.
Right.
My lumps were benign, and we just have faith
Yes.
that he's gonna see us through, and we
Yes.
know we have one another
Yeah.
to get through it as well.
Yeah.
And when she told the sisters, we all said, okay, we're gonna pray about it and
Yeah.
figure out what to do next together, and then we sang.
Well, support is huge, so it definitely helps reduce stress and anxiety, like you said, having somebody to walk with you through it, so,
Yes.
yeah.
A lot of good points.
Mhm.
So much in this, I don't know where to begin, but, so, let me think about this, where I wanna go with this, because there's, obviously, I know portions of your stories, but one thing that I think for viewers to understand, so there's the prevention side,
Yes.
the education side. Let's start there, because I think that is so inspiring about you all's story.
Mhm.
Like I just don't, and maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit. Obviously I'm involved, with the breast cancer organization, and I'm learning and educating myself. I've never had to deal with it directly, though, with someone and be a caregiver and all those types of things. But can you explain for viewers who may not, number one, know why it's important to get a mammogram? Explain about understanding family history. Just give a commercial for why these things are important, because I really believe that it is, and not just as it relates to cancer.
That's right.
We are in a time right now where our health is in such a state of emergency, and our views about health, our views about the medical industry. And so I attended, and I think I talked to you about this, Mel, I can't remember. I attended a workshop several years ago called Cancer Killers. And they talked about how our bodies, that we all have pretty much our body's already an environment that can host cancerous cells. But it's what we do
That's right.
that disrupts
Yes.
that environment.
Yes.
Or things that we can do
That's
to
right.
disrupt, or things that get in to disrupt the environment. And so the
Yes.
ability to fight
Yes.
and do the things that we need to do, especially in the midst of COVID and viruses and everything else. And I think our community needs to take radical, and I'm calling it radical because not everyone has it to create a binder, and but it is, whether it's a binder or whatever it is, the key is the education piece.
Absolutely.
And so I just think if you could just give I'm calling it a commercial, but to viewers as to why we're in a state of emergency.
Yes.
And no matter what they're dealing with medically, that we have to do some things different. And so when you all talk about in the bios, the key components of your journey, it's your personal journey and your family journey, being prayer, family support, leadership, healthy eating, research, self-advocacy, and a positive attitude, all of these things come into play.
Yes.
And so, and you're living testimonies of it. So I'd just like you to do a commercial for why, especially, as we celebrate breast cancer awareness. Yes, it's big during the month of October, but this is a 365-day
Yes,
deal.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
And so, because we've heard your testimony, I don't have any core questions other than tell the people why they should follow these guidelines, that you have set forth, and take your testimonies to heart, because I certainly am.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to start by saying, whatever the health concern is, as the patient, you have options, you also have a responsibility in the care. I would challenge anyone that's faced with a healthcare problem or worry, concern, family history, to ask as many questions as possible to whomever you can, whether it's a doctor, someone who's been on that journey already, family members who maybe have experienced that journey. Ask to see records. Inform yourself. There's so much information out there. The internet is for more than just Googling hairstyles and recipes. There's a lot of phenomenal information out there from the Mayo Clinic, from the Cancer Society, from Pink Forever, from Red Alliance. There's so much quality information to lead you on this journey, and just begin to read to the point of saturation. And what I mean by that is, you'll begin to understand terms the more you hear them. You'll begin to understand next steps the more you read.
Yeah.
But if you only rely on your doctor to advise you, I want you to remember one thing. As much as your doctor may love you and want to provide phenomenal care for you, you are one patient out of hundreds. So they're going to do their best to give you their undivided attention, the best medical advice possible, and I truly believe that they are. And they don't know everything about your story or your journey.
Yeah.
So if you can equip yourself with information, you're going to help to advise them, and they can make even better informed decisions about your care, about which medications may or may not work for you based on history that may not be captured on the pieces of paper that you completed in your file. And I said before, for me, it was strength giving. The more I learned, the better I could equip myself with questions to ask, and even challenge some things that I didn't feel comfortable with in my care. I'll give you, for instance, and I know Rupertia has some examples. One thing for me, because I was not diagnosed with cancer, but my family history placed me at an 87% increased risk for breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and pancreatic cancer. Well, then I have some information to equip me in next steps. So I elected to have bilateral mastectomies. I had mine 2 weeks after Rupertia's surgery. I elected to have an oophorectomy, which is the medical term for having your ovaries removed.
Okay.
And part of my continued care, I have another procedure coming up, is there are different ways in which these surgeries can be performed. There's not just one method.
Right.
And the method that's selected is typically selected by the doctor's choice. You know, what they feel most comfortable doing, what they think may be best for your body type, for the medical concern that they're addressing for you. So I researched the different methods and I talked to my doctors about which method I like. I said, you know, this sounds like it would work best for my body type and for my goals.
Right, right.
What's your opinion? Because of course I respect your medical opinion. You are the expert.
Right.
I'm the expert on Melba.
Right.
You're the expert in medical care and procedures. And we can join forces and take our expert knowledge and make the best choice possible for me. So even in my reconstruction progress and process, I researched all the different types of reconstruction processes there were. And I said, tell me why or why not these two, because these are my top options.
Right, yeah, that's good.
But I say that to empower you, that you have options and you have opportunities to have a very specific role in your care, not just a passive role of being the patient.
Yeah.
So take opportunity to learn those things. So when you hear about conferences that are offered by, and power days, or I can't remember the name, that Pink Forever power sessions.
Power parties.
Yes, the power parties. When you hear about those opportunities, take advantage, because you're informing yourself of different things that you can use later on, if not to help you, to help a neighbor, to help a sibling or a family member, but they give you information to use. And those were the things I utilized to help myself through this journey. So I kind of navigated my own course.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, that's powerful that you decided to like be so proactive that you just removed the body parts where the cancer could start.
That's right.
So, I mean, a lot of times people don't think about it, especially if you got a family member and you've seen that this is generational.
Yes.
You know, that's a great option. Why wait?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That stress alone from waiting, we don't remember, stress creates physical scars in our bodies,
Yeah,
in our minds,
Oh, yeah.
in our bodies. That's a chronic disease
definitely.
developer.
Well, the great thing about that is that making that choice is you are in control of making a decision when you're younger and healthier.
Yes.
Because by waiting, it may not attack your body until you're older, and then you may have acquired other types of illnesses. Now it's just gonna be harder on the body, where
Excellent.
you could have prevented all of that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that was powerful to do that.
Excellent point.
Plus, I always just say, start taking care of yourself when you're healthy. Start,
Yes.
like, get to know your body when you're healthy.
Yes.
I've learned to be an advocate for myself from years ago, and I always say my childhood traumas and things that I went through, those were like my mother's testimonies. Those
Yes.
aren't mine.
Right, right.
My success is based on her prayers
Right.
and her work and what she
Right.
was believing God for.
Mhm.
It really had nothing to do with me, it was just my body.
Yeah, right.
But it taught me how to advocate for myself.
Right.
And how to make sure I knew me. So anytime I would go to the doctor, even prior to cancer, it was based on what I wanted and who I wanted. And I have a bias even when I go to the doctor. I look for doctors that believe that the patient is part of the care.
Right.
I look for doctors who look like me.
That's huge.
And who may have had experiences
That's right.
similar to mine,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with saying that.
Oh, yeah.
To-
You have to
to the
be,
doctor.
that's part of advocating for
Yeah.
self, you gotta be okay with that, yeah.
Like, you have to know, it's called the practice of medicine, and
Mhm.
you are the person they're practicing on.
Say that
So,
again. Say that
You
one
know,
more time.
you want the best
Practice.
practice, you want to find the best practitioners.
That's right.
In anything we do, you know, you wanna find the best practitioners,
Right.
and so, I just say it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to find another doctor.
Yes.
Or even keep the same doctor and get a second opinion.
That's right. Yes.
As Melba stated, my mother, myself, Melba, we've all been on this cancer journey. All three of our doctors are different.
Okay.
Of course, my mom wants us to go to her doctor's office. But we all go to three different doctors that have told us three different opinions and three different scenarios. And then although we've had the same surgeries, our surgeries were even different. Like, we were comparing battle scars yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was asking me, you know, why are your scars here and my
Right.
scars are here?
Right.
And even terminology, at one point, if she doesn't mind me sharing, I knew that I was gonna have to have what they call a radical hysterectomy or complete
Okay.
hysterectomy. And I knew that I was going to have one, and as she was stating, it was partially preventative, but I did have fibrous tissues that they were concerned about, because I already had a cancer diagnosis, and the
Right.
type of cancer is more aggressive.
Right.
I'm in the triple negative club, we're rare breeds. And actually, it used to be more rare than it is, but
Okay.
Black women, it's one of the ones that it finds us and it likes us.
Yeah.
And it is not, estrogen rich as some of the other ones.
Okay.
So if it's estrogen rich, you can say, okay, let's reduce estrogen
Right.
in the body.
Mhm.
But triple negative is not,
Okay.
it's negative to the estrogen receptors. And,
Right.
So I had the hysterectomy. So we're thinking, Melba says, I'm headed, we have, it's called, Safe Sister System.
We have a text group.
It's a text
Oh,
group.
okay.
Just the sisters.
It's just the sisters.
Okay.
Cause we can say anything in this
Right.
platform. So
Right.
she texts and she says, I'm headed to my appointment, a little nervous, I'm going to find out if I have to have the hysterectomy or not.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, on my terms, complete hysterectomy, which includes the oophorectomy. But at the time, I really didn't even use the word oophorectomy.
Right.
I just said complete
Right.
hysterectomy. So Melba goes, she comes, she texts us, and she says, hooray, I don't have to have the hysterectomy. So we all celebrate. And we're in this journey now, so
Right,
we
right.
should know what's going on.
Right.
We celebrate. Tuesday comes, my older sister texts and says, Melba's headed into surgery, everybody said a prayer, make sure she's okay. I said, wait a minute, why is she headed into surgery? Like,
Right.
who's with her? Nobody, because we've all been taking turns
Yeah.
going to the hospital and appointments with one another. Who's with her? And so surgery's over and I'm fussing and I call Melvin, I said, you said you did not have to have, she said, I didn't have it, but I still had to have the oophorectomy. And I'm like, what? What is that?
I said the same thing. I didn't know what an oophorectomy was.
And again, I'm in this process, so I go and I look at my paperwork, because my surgery is after hers, and it says it on there, it's clear to say, complete hysterectomy with an oophorectomy and exploratory thereafter. And I'm like, I did not even pay attention to this word.
Yeah.
I just thought it was all inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now I had to, now when I'm speaking to my doctor, and I say, okay, when you say complete hysterectomy, then he goes down the list. Well, the hysterectomy is the uterus and the cervix. The oophorectomy is your fallopian tubes and your, ovaries.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes, and I think that's one reason that I would encourage viewers,
Yes.
when you have appointments,
Mhm.
go in with your own diagram.
Mhm.
Make notes on that diagram, that's what I do. I literally print out a diagram of whatever the body part is that's in question.
Mhm.
And I make notes, because you also have to think, when you are the patient, part of your mind is resting in a comfortable place to keep you safe.
Yes.
So you're not fully coherent, really, to remember all of these great
Right.
details that they
Right.
share.
Right.
So go in with the diagram so that they can draw on it, circle it,
Yeah.
ask them to take pictures and show you things,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known if I had not done that. And so my doctors, I've trained my doctors now. They're still in training as practitioners.
That's right.
But I've trained my doctors to know that I need to be educated, and the visuals sometimes, I learn in different ways.
Yeah,
Sometimes just from writing it or reading it,
Mhm.
but the visual is so powerful, and now I can go back and I can show my sister, my daughter,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
my nieces, this is the part of the body that we're talking about, and this is why.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That is so good, because I think I always thought I couldn't ask, you know, and cause I had a hysterectomy, and how about I still didn't know the differences, and it's something else, but, I had a ENT, the ear, nose, and throat doctor that was telling me something, and I asked him, I said, let me see the CT scan.
Yes.
And he kinda looked at me, but he did it, you know, and I said, even though I don't know how to read them, but I said, okay, so tell me what I'm looking at and what a normal one should look like.
Yes, powerful.
And that helped me so much,
Yes.
and I appreciate that time, and so just knowing that we can do that
Yes.
and not feel intimidated by it, because I
Yes.
know I was, because I'm like, I don't know haven't had training and
Yes,
all
for
these
sure.
things, so we could have a part 2 and 3 of this. We better get the she-mail before.
We gotta get the she-mails.
Good.
We can
May I
have
offer one other note?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
she-mail, because I like she-mail.
Yeah.
Speaking about prevention, I loved it, what Rupertia said, take care of yourself when you're healthy.
Yes,
And for our community, that starts with our diet.
yes.
Not dieting, but what we put in our mouths,
Yeah.
what we put in our bodies. I have learned a tremendous amount
Yeah.
about the simple ways
Yes.
of caring for ourselves
Yes.
and still have delicious food.
Yeah.
I don't eat food that doesn't taste good,
Right,
but it's extremely healthy.
yes.
And it's helping to rebuild my body. And we've taken several pictures, our family takes pictures. And this relates to what I wanted to share. A cousin said, oh, Rupertia's skin is beautiful, what are you doing? Melba's skin's beautiful. One, I think our surgeries forced us to rest.
Yes.
For two, I was so impressed that as Rupertia went through her journey, if you were in her kitchen and you watched what her husband was cooking for her, and he's a phenomenal cook,
Okay.
I'd say he's a chef. There were tons of greens and vegetables
Yeah.
and just very healthy options so that she could support the healing of her body and not
Yeah.
just rely on surgery and medicine.
Right, right.
Medicine is in the greens and in the vegetables
That's
and
right.
in those products. So we can improve in those areas.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to cut out so many of these challenges that we experience.
That's another whole story, you know, for our culture,
Yes.
getting away and moving away from the traditional foods of soul food,
Yes.
that we deem is like the only way we can eat.
Yes.
So, that's gonna be good, so, yeah, definitely, I think that's huge, and we definitely could have a whole topic about that.
Miss Tina, I think we should do a She Became Me from somebody's kitchen, showing some of those healthy options.
Hey, that's
I'd
a great
love to do
idea.
that.
Tina loves
I'd
that.
love to.
Look, great idea, write that down, cooking healthy,
Yeah,
well, healthy cooking,
that's right.
and we can record that as one of our segments.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that just goes all the way back to just knowing your body though. Like I know that my body does not, do well with medications.
Okay.
If a medication is supposed to put you to sleep, you can best believe I'm going to be up high, cleaning up the whole house.
Yeah,
Like
It kinda have a
it
reverse
has an
effect.
adverse effect.
Okay.
And, I'm getting to know myself, so I also have control issues. And so I don't care for medicines that have me feeling down
Right,
or not in
right.
control.
Yeah.
And so for me, I knew I didn't wanna take the medications, you know, chemo
Okay.
was enough.
Okay,
And my chemo was enough.
I'm sure.
That's, talking about another segment,
Yeah.
chemo is traumatic.
Yes,
So that was enough. So
Yeah.
I didn't wanna take any of the other
right.
medications, and so that's where the food came
Well, I'm
in.
hoping, I'm hoping that people is really taking that to heart, that
Yeah.
you guys are, sharing that is a
Yeah.
vital point.
And we're not saying it is definitely not easy, because
No.
it is a mindset
Oh, yeah.
change and
Yes.
shift. And you do have to leave those generational things even for soul food. It's not that soul food is bad, it's that the way they prepare
Prepare,
foods
yeah,
now
yeah.
are, they're
Mm.
full of antibiotics and full
All
of
that,
steroids.
yeah.
Our parents' food
Oh,
didn't
no,
have
they
that.
grew that in
Yeah.
the backyard, they was
That's
just
right.
picking
So
it
that,
up.
organic.
it
That's
was,
right,
so
that's
we-
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, definitely ladies, I mean, powerful story, wonderful story, and a display of, family connections and
Yes.
support. And, you guys gave us a lot of inspirational thoughts and things to really consider, with being healthy. Cause definitely what we wanna do here is plant healthy thoughts and ideas.
Yes.
And, we're gonna, move to some shoe mail real quick and, get that, out the way. And I need the viewers to continue to send, your thoughts and concerns and questions to shebecameme2020@gmail.com. So we might read your question out loud, on the show. So let's see what we got, ladies.
All right.
Do you think there's a difference between living and existing? Look at God. Look at the question y'all got.
Let's speak some truth, Miss
Do
Tina.
you think there's a difference between living and existing? So, I know y'all got.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I mean,
Wow.
So what's the difference between living and just existing?
well, if I even go spiritually, it says
Mhm.
that the Lord came for us to have life and then life more abundantly.
Mhm.
Speak.
So you can have life and be here and do nothing.
Right.
You know, wake up and I was able to have the opportunity through the grace of the good Lord to
Mhm.
experience depression. And I'm gonna say once in my life, because
Okay.
I wanted to feel, and I felt like I
Right.
was not feeling openly. And
Right.
you would have to know, again, family dynamic, I'm the mean one. I'm the straightforward one. I don't have feelings, but I do, it's just they don't make me.
Right.
Like, my feeling is not gonna change the trajectory of what I
Right.
need to do.
Right.
So, at one point, I was feeling this depressive feeling, and that was living, but not living in the abundance. I was stuck.
Okay.
I could not move
Mhm.
until I dealt with it.
Right.
And then when I dealt with it, I became intentional.
Okay.
And being intentional helps you,
Walk in your purpose, for
Walk-
sure.
Yes.
yeah, and let you know that it's okay
Yes.
to have a difference of opinion, to have
Yes.
a different from what your mom and them said. and
Look,
what your
if she,
daddy
look, if she
did.
became me.
Yes, yes.
You get to become
That's
you,
right.
and so
Yeah.
I think that's the difference
That's
in just
Mhm.
existing
Yes.
and being here. You have a plant that you've never moved that sits in your corner,
Yeah.
and it might even live and thrive, it might like it over in the corner,
Mhm.
but it's just there. It makes no difference, and one day you're like, let me move this, or let me do something with this,
Mhm.
and you see that plant, like it opens up, it starts to bloom and blossom, and you
Right.
never even knew that it
They
did
can
that.
do more than
It
that.
could
Yeah.
do more, so
Yeah.
I think there's just so much with living, and even now, like, everything is very intentional. With
Oh,
my
yeah.
grandkids, when my grandson wakes up, if he's at our home, I leave my door cracked, because his routine has become that he comes in
Okay.
and he busts open the
Yeah.
door
Yeah.
and, good morning, Dia,
Yeah.
and if I'm not in the bed, where are you?
Yeah.
Dia, where are you? And it's funny, even for him saying that, because sometimes I have to say, like, where am I?
Mhm.
Like, even mentally.
So basically, you talk about being present in the
Being
moment.
present.
Yes,
That's
yes,
good.
Yes,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
So what about you, Malcolm?
I think for me, living is about thriving and being a complete person.
Mhm.
like Apertia, I go back to my faith. If God said he gave me a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind, that means he made me to do some things.
Yes.
To have an exciting life. If I have power, power means that I'm supposed to be using it for something. I can't just exist
Right,
and have power.
right.
No, I have to do something with it. So, there's too many great things in this world. I know we're going through very challenging times right now,
Right.
but there's still so many awesome things about our lives, our connections with one another.
Yes.
Hope is still very abundant in my life.
Oh, yeah.
So existing just is, I'm taking whatever the world gives me, which is not the abundance that he promised me.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know how to exist. I know how to live.
Yeah, yes.
But I don't know how to exist.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't you know?
I think it's about intentionality. I think that it is so, living is doing things that create presence, create impact,
Yes.
doing, you know, I always have the idea that whether it's a relationship or a role, you know, whether it's in, you know, where I work and where I play, you know, I feel like if someone is, I've been in someone's life or they've been in mine, I want them to know that I was there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is what living is to me.
Yes.
Existing just means, as, you know, it's already been said, you're taking things as they come. And I really, for some reason, I keep going to my marriage, you know, because you can, because we talked about in one of the shows, coexisting with
Yeah.
someone else,
Yes.
you know, and so when I think about when relationships become stagnant, because you get comfortable and, accept mediocrity, to me,
Yes.
that's existing.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And not doing anything different, not growing is existing.
Exactly.
I laughed, I chuckled. I didn't want to go back to school at one point. I knew I was going back. I wasn't ready to return because I love learning. I absolutely love learning. I do not love going to school. I know this is funny because I'm a teacher, but I do not love going to school. And so when I go all in.
Okay.
5 classes, 6 classes. I need to get it done.
Yeah.
So I was taking a break and Melba calls. And I'm sitting at the pool and she says, I need to have a serious conversation with you. I need you to get in a place to hear. And I'm like, I'm at the pool, I'm not going any place. I'll listen. So she says, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, well, today I want to go swimming. And she's like, don't be facetious with me. If you don't return to school, I mean, for you to go through everything that you've gone through, to be mediocre, is that what you want? So when you said that, that's what I thought of. To be, is that what you want? And I said, today I do. Today, I'm
She's not joking
But
either.
that's good, because at least you knew for today, that was good.
I said, I will go back.
Okay.
I don't know when I will go back.
Okay.
Why don't you just set a date? This is what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna get off the phone until there's a date.
Oh, that is hilarious.
And there has to, so of course, so I do have my master's.
She
I
does.
finished.
Yes, she did.
I finished in
Yes, she
2016,
did.
but it was going to happen. And so
Yeah.
right now we're on this whole PhD kick, and I don't know that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
We'll have
but
another
it-
conversation.
But it definitely is talking about being, so just being really intentional, like I had to get my mind ready
Yeah.
and prepared.
Yeah,
And you do have to still have that support,
Yeah.
yeah.
those people
Yeah.
there to support you. You know, you can't, nobody lives in a nutshell, and I, for lack of a better word, I hate when I hear young children say, and I did it by myself. Nobody helped me.
Yeah. Well, we gotta, get another whole show
Yeah.
about
Yes,
that.
yes.
But look, we gonna go on and on, but look, I'm writing down some other stuff, I got some good stuff that I can do some more
Yeah.
shows on
Awesome.
from these conversations. But yeah, definitely, living, one of the things that I wrote in my, the book about living and existing is that, a tree is just a tree,
Mhm.
but it's a living thing.
Yes.
So unless you start to, be intentional and purposeful,
Mhm.
and living in each moment, yeah, then you just existing, as a tree.
Yes.
Just a living thing that's not really making any impact on anybody. But yeah, so once again, I wanna thank these beautiful ladies for coming by and, inspiring us with all their knowledge and information. And, you guys have any, websites or, numbers or platforms that people can reach you at? They want to discuss anything with you guys, go ahead and share that with our viewers. And it'll also be in our content below. So you, got a number or something you could be reached, or a website, just go ahead and let them know.
I currently do not,
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
You
It's
know,
coming, that's another conversation.
That's another conversation.
Well, we'll wait till Mel get us something going. What you got, Mel? Because I'm sure Mel's gonna get you a website.
It's coming, she'll
Yeah.
be consulting soon, but
Yeah.
wait for that one.
Yep.
My website's under development.
Okay, okay.
But, I will share an email address, especially
Okay.
for any viewers who would like to have
Okay.
the templates
Okay,
that, I created.
Okay.
And I will share those, and you can certainly find the Practical Counselor on LinkedIn.
okay,
If you're interested in having some discussions, if I could support,
Mhm.
your school or community organization
Mhm.
with, specifics around programming for youth,
mhm.
I'd be
Okay.
happy to do so.
Okay, just go, you can share the email.
Okay,
Just,
it's melba@thepracticalcounselor.com.
Okay.
melba@thepracticalcounselor.com.
Okay, so once again, we have arrived at the end of this session. And thank you guys for stopping by, connecting with us at the heart. And until next time, we'll see you later.